Hey everybody, it's Kneecap here, and in this video, I'm going to be doing a beginner's dungeon journal for the instance Deadmines. So I'm going to be taking you through, showing you how to do the normal pulls of the instance. Again, this is targeted towards new players, people who haven't done the instance very much, or maybe just are confused and for any reason. So when you come in, if you use the dungeon fire, you'll probably just get the quest pop up automatically. If not, you can go over to that guy I was just at and go get the quest. And the quests in here are very straightforward. You just kill a boss, click on the notification, or complete it, get the next quest. Pretty simple. So as you come into this first room here, you'll see ogres and kobolds. So generally, your first pull, you're going to just go to the right here and do this one ogre, one kobold pull. It's very straightforward. There's nothing particularly tricky about it. And then you're going to have two pulls that are the same. It's going to be one ogre and three kobolds. Well, the next one's actually four kobolds. So this is one ogre, three kobolds, and then you'll have a one ogre, four kobolds. So this is, again, an easy pull. This is a 5 pull, like I just mentioned. Again, very easy pull. The next one, you're going to have your first task at hand. So let's say your tank does not have BOA gear, is not a new player. These guys might hurt him a little bit. They do hit a little bit harder. You're generally going to pull them both at the same time. And if you are actually struggling, you need to just focus one down. Don't worry about cleaving them. Make sure you're focusing the same target. Glubtalk's the first boss. His abilities are pretty straightforward. He just kind of hits the tank for extra damage, and then he's going to go into phase 2, where he's going to just shoot stuff at random players. So typically, it's going to be a lot of times it's going to be at the ranged players, and you'll just have to move out of that. If you're in a group that has I'm assuming anyone who's watching this might not have the BOA gear, but let's say all other 4 people in your group have it. You're not even going to get to really see phase 2 in this. He's just going to die too fast for you to even see it. So you won't even have to worry about it. And everything is dependent upon how many people in your group have the BOA gear or just have like really good gear. Make sure that they get the best gear questing, whatever. That'll pretty much decide everything. So after you kill him, you can move on to the next room. I will say this instance is interesting in that after you kill a boss, there will be a patrol that comes behind from every boss. So if you're moving a little bit slower, it might be better just to wait and kill the couple of elites that come from behind you. As we go into this room, we have goblins and monkeys. So the goblins, you can just pull them kind of one at a time pretty much if you're careful and pull them back. If you AoE the monkeys, they will also attack you. These waitresses right here, those are the priority. Those can also be kicked. And I'm only coming over here because there is sometimes a chest back here. So if your group is into that, they might go back there. It's usually the tank's call. If you're the tank and wanting to come get the chest, then that's up to you. As far as the monkeys go, if you actually click on those little ball and chain that are tied to them, they'll actually become friendly and fight for you. And I think I show you that up here coming up. But so that's kind of a trick you can do with the monkeys, and they actually fight for you instead of having to worry about AoEing them and have them fight against you. Here we go. So there's a example of that right there. And you can see it actually pulls that thing. They will start fighting immediately. It is technically a way to skip things as well if you really needed to. As we get into this next room, we're going to have these... I got to finish off this one goblin here. As we get into the next room, we're going to have these lumbering oafs. Now these actually do get hit kind of hard. Similar to those bodyguards that were before Glubtalk, the first boss. These kind of hit hard like that. I believe there's 4 more lumbering oafs in this room to go along with the boss. You don't want to pull the boss with a lumbering oaf. Again, unless your group is completely stacked, it won't matter. There's a chest spawn that could be back here as well, so feel free to check that out. And this boss is pretty straightforward. You're not going to get to see phase 1. Even if I didn't hit him hard, it wouldn't have mattered. For phase 1 on this boss, you also generally... The reason I went back to the door there, you generally want to pull these lumbering oaf things back to the door there. So the first phase of this boss, the big oaf will grab somebody in the group, and he will just run you down the platform basically and do damage to you. There's nothing you can do about that damage. You just got to heal the person who gets grabbed by the big guy and charged. And then this guy's going to jump on you. He's going to get thrown on you by the oaf and start doing this bomb attack that he's doing currently. And then after you kill him, like I did, he also is going to jump on someone's head. Now you can DPS him while he's on your own head. You generally just wanted to be running out of these bombs, and really that's the only mechanic of the fight that you have any control over is not standing in the bombs. So just don't stand in the bombs, and you should be fine. If you have this guy on you, yes, you want to run out of the bombs, but kind of staying still a little bit. That way the melee have an opportunity to kind of stand still and kill them. If you don't have any melee, it doesn't matter as much, but don't line of sight the range. Don't line of sight your healer if he happens to be on your particular head. So pretty straightforward fight there. Just mostly don't stand on the bombs. And again, I didn't mention it perfectly, but you do kind of want to pull the guys to the door, the entrance of the room before you go ahead. So you'll complete that quest if you're on the quest. And you'll accept the new one. It's all kind of on its own. So this next room, we're going to have these evokers, and you can see they're powering up. So they're going to be your main target. They're going to be the elites, and they're just powering up the other guys, making them a little stronger. In this case, they're not even elite, so it doesn't matter that much. But generally, you're going to focus down the casters, and that's going to be the case for this entire instance, really. And in most cases, in general, just as a general tip for a new player, you're typically going to focus on the casters. That way, you can do interrupt. And even if you're not focusing down a caster in a particular instance, you do want to make sure you're interrupting them as you go. So that matters as well. Here you see another one of those. So just a couple of those there, and then there's some non-elites at the end. And then we're going to make our way into the foundry here, Goblin Foundry. And we're going to just have a really easy room here overall. So you have 4 Reapers. You can just pull them one at a time. That's generally what you want to do. If you have a stacked group, again, nothing really matters if you're the only person in your group that doesn't have the full gear. It's not going to really matter. When you hurt these things enough, I know at least on heroic version you could jump inside them and pilot them around a little bit. I don't know if that's the case for leveling up, but if so, you can jump inside there and play with them a little bit. There is a possible chest spawn back there. It's not there. So this boss is just a big Reaper. And the biggest thing you need to know about him is don't stand in front of him. So he does a cone attack in front of him. Then he'll also charge at a random player. And that person needs to stay ahead of him a good amount because he's doing like a cone attack while he's charging you as well. And then he also just does like a whirlwind ability that you want to get out of. It doesn't do a ton of damage. Again, it really only matters to you, the player, without the really good gear. And even then it might not because they might kill it so fast that it doesn't matter. So it'll be completely up to you to decide that. But just don't stand in front of him and you'll probably be okay. Other than that, he's pretty easy. Just a big old Fell Reaper. I remember him being a little bit hard on Heroic when this was also turned into Heroic, but always been pretty much a pushover on this normal difficulty. This is probably one of the easier rooms. Even if you had a group of 5 new players, just don't stand in front of him. And you'd pretty much be fine. As we get to the next room, we're going to have a different type of caster here. And that caster is going to put a little shield up that increases, it's either haste or damage done. And so you can stand in there and do extra damage if you want. I know at one point at least they used to increase the damage of the mobs themselves. So like, see the mobs are inside there, but they do not have the buff. Like I have the buff, or I guess it's a debuff, so maybe that's why I can't see it. But they definitely don't have a buff while they're in there. But I know generally, at least back in the day, you would take them out of that circle to avoid them. Then you have an easy pull. There's pretty much always going to be a chest back here. Of course, I say that and then there won't be, but there typically is a chest in that particular area there. So there's another one of those casters. And then here you have an option. You can either pick lock this door. I happen to be on a rogue. I was just kind of on a rogue to kind of stealth around. You can either pick lock this door, and then that'll allow you to skip a pull there. But generally what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to click this cannon. That would shoot the door open. And then there'll be a group of 4 right here. So this will be a 4 elites. It's one of the bigger pulls in the dungeon. You don't typically pull 4 elites at once usually, so definitely one of the bigger pulls there. So now we're going to go across this bridge, and you're going to see parrots in the sky. You'll want to just pull these one by one with range. They do come down to you if you don't, I'm one-shotting them because I'm, a max level character, but they will come down to you when you pull them, so you can feel free to DPS them. You can see cannons firing on the ground. That's what those red marks on the ground are. And you simply just want to, not stand in it if possible. You can kind of go around most of them, but it will knock you off, basically, and you'll have to swim around and climb back up. There's multiple ways to get back up, so don't worry or don't panic. You can always ask somebody, hey, how do I get back up? Generally, you can just kind of go back to where you started at, where we came in the room at. But there are other places you can get up as well. So these pulls are pretty easy. You want to focus the casters as always. I believe these cannons, once you engage the pirate that's operating them, you can actually get inside them and use them for a couple cannon blasts as well. So again, it's kind of like getting inside the Harvest Reapers earlier. You can get in those cannons and use them. You might have seen teleporters, and yes, if you were to die or be back at the beginning of the dungeon, you can use a teleporter to get around the instance as well. This is an example of one of those casters I said that would be your priority target to go along with the normal pirates. And then once we get up here, we'll have another boss. And actually, I said the Reaper boss might be the easiest, but this might be the easiest boss. He does do a little bit of targeted damage, which will definitely hurt you if it targets you and you don't have the BOA gear. But it's overall not that bad, because what you're going to have is you're going to have a bunch of little intermissions that are really easy. And those intermissions will allow you to get everyone healed up, regenerate mana, get your wits about you if he is hitting really hard during his attack phase. So you're going to attack him, he's going to disappear into smoke. Little ads are going to come out, you're going to kill those ads, and then he's going to come back out again, go into smoke again, come back out again. I think he might go into smoke 3 times and then come back out again. It's a really easy fight. But I know the damage he does is a decent amount when he claws at you. So the last boss is going to be a little Murloc named Cookie. He's in the cabin, and basically he's just going to throw food everywhere. And you can actually pick up the food and eat it if it doesn't have like a green aroma, like aerating out of it. You can pick up the food and eat it, and it'll give you a haste buff. So that's how you're supposed to do the fight. Again, if your group is stacked, he barely will get to throw any food because he'll be like dead by now. But you can see him throwing food here. So that one is an example of a good one. And then you can see a bad one right there at my feet. So the green coming out of it, that's bad. So you can eat the good ones. I think it stacks up to 3. It might stack higher, but I know it stacks up to at least 3. And so you can eat the food and then go ahead and kill him while you're doing that. So you obviously want to spread out that because he's throwing food at people, so you don't want everyone getting hit by the same foods and having to run around. But yeah, that's it for this dungeon. Good luck to all the new players. I feel like we do need to be a little bit more kind and generous to the new players that come into the game. So hopefully this was able to help you out a little bit as far as knowing how to do the polls, knowing how to do the bosses, and all that kind of stuff. So please subscribe to my channel because that helps me out a ton. And other than that, everybody have a good one.